I'm Adam Roy, Editor-in-Chief of Backpacker, and this is our monthly Editor's Gear Roundtable where we talk about the gear we like and you listen. So it is fall. We are nearing the end of September. It's the season of pumpkin spice lattes, crisp weather, changing leaves, and if you're a backpacker like us, excellent weather for backpacking trips. I personally am going to Canyonlands at the end of the week. I'm wondering if any of you on the call have any special trips planned this fall.
I'm going up to Yosemite in a little bit to hike Mount Dana and Mount Conness. And we're gonna stay on the east side of Yosemite and we'll have to backpack just 2 miles into the campsite and then backpack out each day to get to each spot.
How about you, Zoe and Ben? Anything you got on your calendar you want to talk about?
I've lived in Washington for 3 years now, but I still haven't seen a golden larch in the fall. So my plan is to go see the larches when they start to change colors. They turn bright yellow and apparently are really gorgeous. So I'm going to seek out some larches this fall.
I've gotten to see fall larches once, which was in Switzerland, and it was pretty incredible. It was pretty crazy to see conifers change color that way.
I think the last larches I saw were in the enchantments, and they were beautiful.
Now, Ben, you live in fall central, being in Vermont.
Yeah.
It's kind of leaf peepers paradise. What do you got going?
Man, yes, for exactly that reason, I'm not going anywhere outside of New England for my hiking and backpacking this fall. We're not at peak. It's probably like maybe 2 weeks to peak right now, depending on the weather. All I have to do is head out my backyard onto my local trail, and it's like a fireworks show. Incredible.
Well, one thing that makes a fall backpacking trip better is good fall backpacking gear. I can start because I have brought something for that. This is the Arms of Andes Alpaca Sun Hoodie. I'm wearing it right here. It is pretty much what it sounds like, which is a sun hoodie made entirely of alpaca wool. And I gotta tell you guys, physically I'm here sitting in front of my computer, but mentally I am on a cloud right now being caressed by baby cherubs on one side and petting, you know, a little soft lamb in my lap. This is the softest thing I have ever worn. It's really, really silky, really, really soft. Feels, you know, noticeably better than basically any other hiking layer I own. According to Arms of Andes, alpaca wool is warmer, gram for gram, than merino. So this would be a really good layer to take out on your fall backpacking trips when the nights get a little bit crisp, maybe the mornings are a little cold. It's also stink resistant. You can wear it for a few days. You won't notice any kind of smell. I've worn these for a couple hikes in a row and not had any trouble with it.
Is there anything you don't like about this sun hoodie, Adam?
Yeah, interesting question. There are some downsides with wool compared to a synthetic sun hoodie. One downside is that wool is typically not quite as durable as a blend or as a synthetic. That's why you see in a lot of outdoor layers, you'll notice like wool poly blends or things like that for durability. So I'd be interested to see how this lasts over the long term. I have my fingers crossed, but I haven't put it through really hard use yet. The other big one that I have encountered is wool does not dry nearly as fast as synthetic. Again, that's why even in a lot of merino layers, you'll see manufacturers blend in synthetic thread. If you sweat this thing out, it stays sweated out. I took this trail running while it was still really hot out, wearing a trail running pack, so I didn't have a ton of airflow over my back. This got totally soaked, and I ended up having to basically like take it off and run bare chested because it just was not drying fast enough. So I wouldn't recommend this for like a really high velocity pursuit in really, really warm weather. You might prefer something a little more quick dry for that. But for shoulder season, for hikes where you're not going to be just constantly sweating the whole time or you have better airflow, this would be perfect.
Does it just come in that color or does it come in other colors as well? Because that's a pretty natural shade. Do they stay true to the color of the animal fur?
No, definitely not. It comes in a bunch of different colors. They sent me a white and a blue one, so you can get it in kind of any color you want. Ben, do you want to tell me a little bit about what you brought today?
For sure. Today I am testing out the Nitecore UT27 Headlamp. I think this is the second generation of this headlamp for them, and it's pretty cool for a couple of reasons. It has a glow-in-the-dark battery box, so if you need to swap out the batteries and it's dark out, you can see what you're doing. There's a rechargeable lithium ion battery that comes with it, or you can swap in 3 AAAs interchangeably. It's pretty bright on turbo mode. It has 800 lumens, and I think it's sustained more or less for 2.5 hours at that brightness before the battery dies. Also, this headlamp has 2 separate lenses, so it gives better coverage than a headlamp with a single lens. The headband has like a nice grippy strip along the inside and is pretty competitive. It's 55 bucks, 2.6 ounces. In terms of its competitors, it's pretty much on par. But the coolest thing about this headlamp is that it has 3 different hues of white light, different like warmths. But it has a warm light, it has a slightly off white, and then it has like a traditional cool.
Why would I want something like this? Is this just a marketing gimmick, or does it actually make a difference?
Yeah, so the warmest hue, which is like almost a little yellowish or orange-ish, is really good for snow conditions. Like it's almost like your fog lights on your car. If you're ever driving through snow, it's better to have yellow tinted fog lights because the light doesn't bounce back in your eyes in the same way. And that kind of middle ground, slightly off-white, is really good for rain or like foggy conditions. I found I've only tested it in rain so far because we haven't had snow yet, of course. And it's been a pretty dry fall here as well. But what I've seen so far is pretty impressive, especially if you're trail running, you're moving fast. Like I never thought I never thought that it was a thing I needed, but I'm really enjoying it.
Does it have any night light modes on it, Ben? Does it have like a red light, green light?
Yeah, well, actually that's, there are a few cons to this headlamp, and one of them is that the minimum light output is 100 lumens on low, which is actually pretty bright. Like I think it's too bright for reading or tent activities.
That's unbelievably bright. That's bright enough that you'd have trouble using it like at camp.
It has a red light, but it's pretty dim, and I don't use it that often. I wish there was like a low normal light setting for reading. The plastic hinge feels a little flimsy. I haven't broken it yet, but I also haven't abused it enough to know. And we also haven't done any like official lab testing for battery life or lumen brightness yet, so I can't say for sure how long those sustained lumen brightness levels will go, but we are going to get it in the lab and see what it can do.
800 lumens is pretty bright. It's maybe not true anymore that it would be the brightest, one of the brightest headlamps out there. We've seen 1,000, 2,000 lumen headlamps on the market, but it's as bright, I think, as most people would ever need. So yeah, if it can last for more than a few minutes on that actual brightness, that's pretty impressive. We do know from lab testing that usually lumen output peaks in like, a minute or so after the headlamp is turned on. Our eyes just kind of can't tell the difference as it dims.
Right. We have seen that in the test that our lab editor set up, that pretty much within a minute or two, you lose that peak brightness, but that's not always advertised, so it's good to know. Zoe, what did you bring for us today?
I brought the UltraWeave 46-liter Curve full suspension custom backpack from LiteAF.
It's a bit of a mouthful.
I'm sorry, Zoe, I didn't hear that. Could you repeat that again?
I actually wrote it down, so I could say it again for you, but it is a long name for a very light pack with lots of great features. So this pack, it's ultra light, but it does have an internal frame, and it's got really wide, well padded shoulder straps and load lifters. So for a light pack, it comes in at just over 36 ounces. It handles heavy loads really well. On my recent trip, I was up almost to 40 pounds at the start of my trip with a week's worth of food. And to be honest, I didn't really think about my pack that much, which is kind of the highest praise I can give for a backpack, especially under weights of that size. I'm usually tugging at my shoulder straps and feeling it on my hips. But this carried the weight super, super well. My favorite thing about this backpack, the internal pack bag is 46 liters, but LiteAF claims that with the external mesh pockets, you get a total of 61 liters of capacity, and I definitely pushed that. The external mesh packet on the back just absolutely swallows gear. I put in that pocket my flip-flops, an extra fuel bottle, my water filter, gaiters, gloves, my paper map, and my rain pants. and that pocket just stretched and stretched and stretched to fit whatever I needed to shove in there, which was really awesome. I did a good bit of bushwhacking when I wore this pack up in Alaska. I, took it through some willows and some snaggy brush, and so far it's looking great. The pack bag itself is really durable, waterproof, ultralight fabric, and the stretch mesh too so far has held up, no snags. We'll see if that continues to be the case as I continue to test it, but so far I'm really impressed by the durability.
Is the suspension curved? Like, is there a space for breathability at your back for it?
So the back panel is just a flat foam, non-removable pad. I've so far only tested this pack in pretty cool temperatures, so back sweat hasn't been a problem for me yet, but certainly, as is the case with most ultralight packs, in hot summer weather, you're gonna get a sweaty back.
Emma, do you want to show us what you brought today?
So I brought 2 of these hydration pouches because I am in the middle of a bit of a hydration renaissance. I am over with the giant reservoirs because I think they're impossible to clean. I think that they can be really unwieldy to put in and out of the pack in the middle of a backpacking trip. And then I'm kind of tired of having bottles to deal with and then needing to get the smart water bottles or the, it just seems like a lot of inconvenience. So I am in the middle of experimenting with hydration strategies, and so far I am loving the HydraPak SoftFlask Speed water bottle. They're very easy to fill because you have a giant spout and you can put it into, you can connect it to a water filter with HydraPak, or you can fill it into your running vest very easily in the front pouch, or toss it into your backpack, because as you drink it, they shrink up to the size of nothing. And so they're very convenient. I would say the only downside that I've encountered so far with several miles put on these water pouches is that if the cap is not sealed shut, you will, it'll leak out onto you a little bit, and I encountered that, which was not very fun in the middle of a run, but it did cool me off, so maybe that's a little bonus. But yeah, just make sure that the cap is completely sealed before you put it either back in your backpack or into your vest front pocket. And then I brought a second piece of gear that is an honorable mention, which is my Garmin Forerunner watch, because this month I accidentally took it through a trip in the washing machine and it came out completely unscathed. It worked, there were no scratches, and I even had it on the super spin cycle, and I was amazed that it worked. Just a shout out to that for saving me like $250.
I bet you got a really high step count for that day at least.
Yeah, I should check. I didn't even check. It's probably like 50,000.
Well, Emma, I gotta say, I love the flip caps on those soft water bottles. One thing that does kind of frustrate me with a lot of the ones I have is that I need to unscrew the whole top to refill it. That seems like really quick and secure, according to you. You've never had those open up while you're walking with them or anything like that?
Honestly, they're very secure because you really have to slam it shut. So they do not want to open up. Yeah, you open it, if you want to open it entirely, the cap itself can remove, but if you want to just fill it with water, you flip the cap open and super easy.
How are they to clean? I've used hydration tabs in these before and had a hard time getting them totally clean. Have you encountered that at all?
So far, I'm comparing them to the larger reservoirs, and so this is so much simpler to clean. It just takes a little bit of soap and water, and then I turn them inside out when I clean them, just to get it completely dry. But I think if you do your due diligence on making sure you're storing it completely dry, or putting it in a cool place where mold isn't going to grow, I think it's really easy.
Well, everyone, thanks for joining us today. That'll about do it. Check in with us next month when we tell you how our fall is going and show off some more gear we loved. Until then, I'm Adam Roy, and this has been Backpackers Gear of the Month.